Very good morning, students. Hope you all are doing fine. Today's video regarding overheads, which is in unit number 3. So we need to calculate overcast as you might have observed the previous videos which are related to labor overheads or labor cost. And today's video is on the topic of overhead cost, how a manufacturing unit will value overhead cost. So in this slide you have a brief explanation of overhead cost. Overhead cost are brief expression for all indirect expenses. Overheads or overhead cost are brief expression for all indirect expenses. So overheads are not direct expenses, these are the indirect expenses. So what are the direct expenses? Material, direct wages, direct overheads. Some of the expenses are there which play a very vital role in production, but they are not considered as direct expenses. So the indirect expenses are called as overhead cost. So these indirect expenses or overheads indicates the expenditure incurred over and above the direct material and direct labor. So these overhead costs are the expenditures which are incurred over and above the direct material and direct labor. According to CIMA London, Cost and Management Accounting London, overhead is an aggregate of indirect material, indirect labor and indirect expenses. So, overhead is an aggregate means total of indirect materials, indirect labor and indirect expenses. According to National Accounting Association, overheads are the costs that have to be incurred although they have no direct measurable relationship to the specific activity unit, production or cost objects. So procedure for counting and control of overheads. This is very important, students. First of all, we need to do the classification and codification. So to calculate the overheads, first of all we need to classify the overheads and we need to give a code to the overheads. Then collection and accumulation of information. Collection and accumulation of information. Next one, departmentalization through allocation and apportionment, because in manufacturing unit so many departments are there, so many processes are there. So overhead should be allocated and apportioned on the basis of the department need. Next, reapportionment to production department. Whenever it requires, reapportionment should be given for production department. Next, absorption or charge of production unit. So absorption means how much it will take or charge to production unit. Now we have the classification of overheads. So overheads are classified as factory overheads, office and administrative overheads, selling and distribution overheads. You know all these things. When we have done the material costing in unit number 1, we have seen how the overheads are classified. So overheads are classified as factory overheads, office or administrative overheads and selling and distribution overheads. These factory overheads are again classified into indirect material. There will take direct, here we need to take indirect. There in the sense in cost sheet. So indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. Similarly in office and administrative overheads, indirect material, indirect labor and indirect expenses. Likewise, in selling and distribution, indirect material, indirect labor and indirect expenses. Now we need to allocate these overheads based on the requirement and based on the department wise. So according to CIMA, Allocation is defined as allotment of whole item of cost to cost centers or cost units. So we need to allocate to the overheads cost to cost to or all cost units based on the requirement and need. Next, expenses which originates directly and completed in a department are identified with the foreman responsible for the supervision of the department. So, expenses which are related to or originates directly and completed in a department, they should be identified with the foreman or the responsible person, and they should be supervised for the particular department by the respected person. Next one, direct departmental overhead in production and service department can be categorized as under. So students, you need to remember how the overheads are categorized on the basis of department wise: supervision, indirect labor and overtime, labor fringe benefits, indirect material and factory supplies, research and management, equipment department. So we have a problem here, and let us focus on the case of the problem, and we consider it as case 1. Okay, so B Limited has 2 production departments and 2 service departments. Provides you the following data. So we have B Limited is a company or a manufacturing unit which has 2 production departments as well as 2 service departments. So they are provided some data. Let us observe the data. Production department AB, service department CD. Just we have given the names. Direct material for production department A and B, rupees 40,000 and 30,000. And direct material for service department C and D, 20,000, 10,000. Similarly, direct wages for production department A and B, 20,000, 15,000. Direct wages for service department C and D, 10,000, 5,000. Direct expenses for production department A, 10,000, production department B, 7,500, service department C, direct expenses are 5,000, service department D, direct expenses are 2,500. Indirect material for production department A and B, 5,000, 5,000. For service department, indirect materials are for service department C and D, indirect materials 5,000, 5,000. Now, production department's indirect wages. Production department A, 2,500. Production department B, indirect wages 1,500. For service department, indirect wages are for service department C, 5,000. And department D, 4,000. This was the information. Now what they have given additional information? Common direct expenses are 20,000. Apart from the above data, common direct expenses are 20,000. So prepare a statement showing the allocation of overheads. What the question asked to us? We need to prepare a statement which shows allocation of overheads for each department. So when such information is given, we need to observe which department wise overhead should be allocated. So we need to understand it. That's it. Then we'll do the solution. So apportionment of overheads. Expenses such as power, HP of machine, high power of machine, light points, rent, floor area, depreciation of factory building are expenses shared by all departments and cannot directly charge to a particular department and can be producing or service department. So we need to apportion the overheads. So power means based on machine, Light means based on light points. Rent means area of a floor. Department of machine building or anything production unit or something, which are the expenses which are related to entire unit. So shared by all departments and cannot be directly charged to any particular department. So building means it is for the entire factory building, so it should be paid by all departments and to be producing or service departments. Okay, next, they are incurred for all to use and therefore be apportioned to all departments using such items. According to CIMA, apportionment is defined as the allocation of proportion of items of cost to cost centers or units. So students, please observe this slide carefully and you need to take a screenshot of it and note down in your notebook, because we need to apportion the or divide the overheads based on this chart. Okay, so if you understood this, I think you can understand the previous before 2 slides back one in a very clear manner. So basis of apportionment of some common items of production overheads. Items are given, basis of apportionment also given, basis of division or basis of allocation of overheads are given. So I am reading out, please check one after another. Factory rent, rates and taxes should be apportioned on the basis of floor area occupied. Factory rent, rates and taxes should be apportioned on the basis of floor area occupied. Repair and maintenance of floor building based on the floor area occupied. Insurance of factory building, apportionment should be based on floor area occupied. Depreciation of factory building, obviously on the basis of floor area occupied. So just you need to focus that if it is related to factory building, we need to apply the floor area occupied. Remember? So it's very easy to remember. If any information which is related to factory building, we need to observe how much floor area occupied by the factory building. On the basis of that, we need to do the allocation of overheads. Okay, next, another one, repair and maintenance of plant and machinery. Please observe very clearly. So observe clearly, maintenance of, repair and maintenance of plant and machinery, and apportionment should be based on capital cost of plant and machinery. So overall cost of plant and machinery should be taken. Next one, insurance of plant and machinery, which is based on capital cost of plant and machinery. Depreciation of plant and machinery, obviously allotment is apportionment is based on capital cost of plant and machinery. So if relates to plant and machinery, we need to take capital cost of plant and machinery. Next, insurance of stock or inventory. Insurance of stock or inventory. Here we need to take how much value of stock is insured, that much stock only we need to take. So insured value of stock we need to consider. Next, supervision. How many number of employees are there at that time? We need to consider that. Supervision is based on, apportionment is based on number of workers at that time. Next one, canteen staff welfare expenses, which is based on the number of workers. Timekeeping and personnel office expenses based on the number of workers worked at the time. Next, compensation to workers based on wages. Employees State Insurance Corporation contribution based on wages. Means we need to take the ratio of wages. Next, provident fund contribution, which is again based on wages. Okay, now we need to observe this case too. Students, I am taking the slide back. Please students, you need to observe the apportionment of production overheads based on the apportionment and how this apportionment will be done. So you need to be very careful. So if you are thorough with the basics, you can do the solution easily. I am keeping the slide for a while just for your information. Take the screenshot. Take a screenshot and copy it to your notebook. Okay, or else keep it in your phone so that you can use it for long duration. It's up to you whether you copy into your notes or whether you take the screenshot of it. Is that clear? Now let us move to case 2. XYZ Limited has 2 production departments and 2 service departments. Provides you the following data. So we have 2 production departments as well as 2 service departments. So if you observe this, production departments names are namely A and B, service departments are namely C and D. So direct materials of A, B, C, D are 40,000, 30,000, 20,000 and 10,000. And direct wages 15,000, 20,000, 5,000 and 10,000. See students, I'm reading this information at a stretch, whether they are service departments or production departments. Please observe. Floor area in square feet, 5,000 for production department A, 4,000 for B, 3,000 for C and 2,000 for D. Next, value of plant and machinery is 50,000, 60,000, 20,000, 10,000. Value of stock 35,000, 25,000, 5,000 and 5,000. So number of workers who has worked for production department A 100, for production department B 50. Similarly, in service department C, the number of workers worked 25 and department D 25. Number of light points 200 for production department A, 50 for production department B, 25 for service department C and 25 for service department D. Horsepower of machine, the speed of the machine, production department and service departments apportionment 50, 25, 15 and 10. So these indirect expenses whatever are given for the period were factory rent, rates and taxes 14,000, depreciation, insurance, repairs of machine 28,000, insurance of stock rupees 700, store overheads rupees 1,000, lighting and heating 3,000, supervision and staff welfare expenses 2,000 and power 1,000. So when such information is given, now we need to apportion these items. So whatever information is given, we need to apportion them. Just please take the screenshot of it or else note down the problem in the notebook so that we can go along with this. So solution for it is statement showing the apportionment of overheads. Statement showing the apportionment of overheads. So items of overheads we need to write in the first column. Next column on what basis we are doing the apportionment. Next, the total value of or total amount of overheads, and then to the particular department how these overheads are apportioned. Okay, so the first information given to us, see what information given in this box is just to consider, just this box is for our information and we need to apportion these things based on these items. Okay, clear? Yes. So first one is given as, see students here, let me mark factory rent and factory overheads. So if you observe, factory rent, rates and taxes is given as 14,000. See the first one, factory rent, rates and taxes 14,000. What is the basis for apportionment? Floor area. Floor area. And if you observe, floor area is given very clearly. See this, floor area 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000. So we need to take that 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000. That's it. Total value is 14,000. Is it clear or not? Next one. Another one, depreciation, insurance and repairs of machine. Already a red line is there. So I don't want to touch it. I just reading it. Depreciation, insurance, repairs and machinery. Repairs of machinery is 28,000. So if you have 28,000, on what basis you need to do the apportionment? Value of plant and machinery. And if you observe the value of plant and machinery, students, clearly given, this is the value of plant and machinery, 50,000, 60,000, 20,000, 10,000. Can we take those amounts? No, we cannot take. So we need to take the ratio 5:6:2:1. So 28,000 you need to take a portion based on their ratio. That will be 10,000 for production department A, 12,000 for production department B, 4,000 for service department C, and 2,000 for service department D. So 5:6:2:1, 11, 13, 14. So we need to take 14 in the sense 2,000 it will come. So we need to take like that. Okay. Yes. Next one. Insurance of stock. Here it is given, insurance of stock is given as 700. On what basis? Value of stock insured. How much value of stock insured? That much we need to take. So 700 should be value of stocks. 35,000, 25,000, 5,000 and 5,000. So 7:5:1:1. On that basis, 7:5:1:1. So that will be 350, 250, 50 and 50. Next one, store overheads. Store overheads, how much is given? 1,000. And what is the basis for store overheads? Value of material. What is the value of material given? Value of stock it is given. So how much value is given? Based on that we need to take. So value of material is 400, 300, 200 and 100. Lighting and heating, obviously based on the light points. Here lighting and heating is given 3,000 and number of light points are given 200, 50, 25, 25. So 4:2:1:1. So 200, 500, 250, 250. See the ratio you need to find out on the basis of it. Next, supervision and staff welfare expenses, which is based on, the apportionment is based on number of workers. Total amount is 2,000 and the number of workers given 100, 50, 25, 25. So 4:2:1:1. So we need to be 1,000, 500, 250 and 250. Power, obviously horsepower of machine it is based. So no need to tell you. So horsepower of the machine is given here 50, 25, 15, 10. So if you consider, if you use a 5 table, it will be better for us. So 10:5:3:2. So if you observe, out of 1,000, 500 for production A, 250 for production department B, 150 for service department C and 100 for service department D. This is the basis of allotment. See students, one thing we need to remember, when an item of overheads is given, definitely we need to remember the basis of apportionment, factory rent, rate and taxes if they have given in the problem based on floor area. If any depreciation, insurance and repairs on machines is given, machine value. Stock if it is insured based on the value of stock insured. Store overheads based on the material used. Lighting and heating, lighting points. Supervision and staff welfare expenses based on the number of workers employed. Power, horsepower of machine. So if you total it, this is the solution. Okay students, so I hope you have understood and try to concentrate on the apportionments. Okay. Now problem number 3 or case 3. SVIL Limited has 2 production departments A and B and 1 service department S. The actual cost for a period are as follows. So they have given us some of the information. Power total cost is 1750, lighting 1600, rent and rate 6000, indirect wages 4000, sundries 1600, depreciation on machinery 6000. These are the overall overheads. Now apportionment for each and every department is given. Production department A, production department B, service department S. So total number of working hours for production department AB are 4,000 and 3,000. Service department 2,000. Direct wages in rupees for all these 3 departments 3,000, 2,000, 3,000. Cost of machinery for department A 75,000, department B 50,000, service department 25,000. Horsepower of machinery 60 hours, 30 hours and 10 hours. Light points 18, 12, 10. Floor area in square feet 1000 square feet for production department, 1200 square feet for department B and 800 square feet floor area for service department. So they are asking us apportion the cost of the various departments on most equitable basis. So every information is given to us. Power is given, lighting is given, rent and rates, indirect wages, sundries and machinery overheads. These amounts we need to apportion on the basis of the information. So students, we need to remember one thing here, that whatever information is provided us, everything is very clear, but we need to understand pretty well and clear that on what basis apportionment should be done. Power means based on the lighting and power, how much they used. Rent means floor area. Indirect wages means based on the number of workers, and sundries means based on the workers, and depreciation. So let us check how we have apportioned them. Power, horsepower of hourly rate. So power, when it is given, it's based on the machine hours. So give a check clearly. Cost of machine is given and working hours are given. So let us take those amounts. 24 is to 9 is to 2. How we got this 24? The 24 we have got from the number of power we have used. So horsepower into hours. Horsepower is given as 60, 32, 10. 60, 32, 10. So if you modulate, 24 is to 9 is to 2. So total number of hours worked into horsepower 1750, 1200, 450 and 100. Lighting obviously based on light points, and the light points here given are 18, 12, 10. Means you can take directly 18 plus 12, 30, 30 plus 10, 40. 18 by 40, 12 by 40, 10 by 40. But make it short form. 9 is to 60 is to 5. So 18 means 9, 12 means 6, 10 means 5. So apportion on that basis. Rent and tax rates, which is based on the area occupied. Square feet are given, no? So based on that we need to. Rent and taxes are given as 6,000. So when it is given 5 is to 6 is to 4. How we got 5 is to 6 is to 4? 1000 is to 1200 is to 800. Cut short, it will be 5 is to 6 is to 4, like that. Next, indirect wages. So indirect wages are based on direct wages. 3000 is to 2000 is to 3000. That will be 3 is to 2 is to 3. Next, sundries are based on wages. Again 3 is to 2 is to 3. Depreciation based on the cost of the machine. 75,000, 50,000, 25,000. That will be 3 is to 2 is to 1. So this is the apportionment. So let me check. Power, horsepower into number of hours work. Horsepower into number of hours work. So 24 is to 9 is to 2. That will be, total amount is given in the problem as 1750. 1750 into 24 by 35, like that. So 1200 for department A, 450 for department B, and service department is 100. Lighting based on the light points, 1600 is the total value. So if we apportion on the basis of 9 is to 6 is to 5, 720, 480, 400. Rent and taxes based on the area occupied, total value is 6000, and apportionment is based on 5 is to 6 is to 4, 2000 for A, 2400 for B, and 1600 for S. Indirect wages based on the direct wages, 3 is to 2 is to 3. Total overheads of indirect wages are 4000, and if we apportion in the ratio of 3 is to 2 is to 3, 1500, 1000 and 1500. Sundries obviously on indirect wages, 3 is to 2 is to 3. Total overheads are 1600, so 600. 400, 600. Depreciation, apportionment should be on the basis of the machine value. So it will be 3 is to 2 is to 1. That will be, total value is 600. Apportionment 3000, 2000 and 1000. So total overheads are 20,950. And the overheads allotted to department A, 9020. Department B, 6730. Service department S, 5200. This is the allocation or apportionment of overheads. Okay, students. So we discussed 3 cases, 3 problems, and I would like to wind up this video with this present video, and we'll meet with another video on overheads next day. Take care. Thank you.